So when we have that dance, when we allow each other to be ourselves in the relationship and have that grace, and we play the roles that were created for us as men and women, and in my beliefs by God, in that dance, there is an intimacy that is expressed that is so much deeper, so much more meaningful and sustainable in the relationship. Hello, I'm Karen Seitz, and this is the Happy Wife School. This podcast is for married women to realize that we are responsible for our happiness, that no one and no thing can make us happy, and that our husbands are not the source of our unhappiness. In each episode, I red pill married women to know that we are the problem in our marriages to good men. For the good men, this podcast will wake you up to the realities of your wife's woman ways, to take back the power you've unknowingly given away to her emasculation in a constructive, caring way. Before we dive into today's episode, a couple reminders. My message is meant for common and usual marital issues. My podcast is not intended for abusive, violent, or compulsive behaviors in a marriage that are threatening or dangerous. Also, please take a second to visit my website and learn more about my courses, which offer solutions for married women and good men. You can find the link in the description below. With all that being said, let's get started. Let's dive into our topic today. Passionate marriage. Is that what we want to be aiming for? And the reason I want to talk about this is that there are a lot of experts out there and people in the marriage field and relationship field that talk a lot about that we need to create passion in the marriage and relationship, and we need to bring back desire, and that everything should be funneled into bringing passion and desire back into the relationship. And I have a very different experience from my marriage that I want to share, and a very different perspective on that. I was talking with my husband this morning. As you guys know, Adam, that's my husband. Adam always asks me on Saturday mornings, what are you talking about today? And I told him, and I asked him what his take was on passion in the marriage. And he said, there's such a reaching and a neediness that comes from this idea of passion. And he shared also, it's so fake and contrived, and it puts so much pressure that has to be there. And I was glad he shared that, because that's my experience too. It's easy for us in the beginning of a relationship when it's new and it's novel to experience passion and this excitement for each other, but that's not sustainable. And the reason that we feel the need to create passion in a marriage or relationship is actually because we don't have passion in ourselves. I like this definition of passion. That passion is a strong feeling of enthusiasm or excitement for something, or about doing something. And when we have that within ourselves, it comes from having a caring, loving relationship with ourselves, from creating a life and having a dream and something we believe in, and believing in ourselves. And especially as women, we don't have that in ourselves. I can speak for myself and the women that I've worked with over the years, is that we're very bored with ourselves. We don't believe in ourselves. We don't like ourselves. We don't know who we are and what we want, or what we even want to create in life. And we fall into the default mode of doing what we think we should do, what we're supposed to do. We also live in camp victim. And in camp victim, when we put the power and control outside of ourselves for our experience, what happens is we create a very small life for ourselves and a very small experience of ourselves, because we're hiding from life and pushing life away. And that feeds and exasperates the emptiness within us. That the reason we want passion is we're looking for someone else and something else to fill that emptiness in us and really give us this feeling of desire that we crave, of wanting that emptiness fulfilled in us. And in that, it's like what Adam said this morning when I was talking to him before I left the house, is in that there's this reaching and neediness and need from someone else to give us something that we don't have within ourselves. And with passion and desire, it really does come from this novelty and newness that we might experience in the beginning of a relationship, but then it wears off. And especially for us as women, it's coming from this place of a facade. And again, getting something fulfilled within us that we don't have in our relationship within ourselves. So we're putting on this show and it's not real. And we're not being ourselves. I can think of myself in the beginning of my relationship with my husband or relationships before him. It was this kind of raw craving from someone else, but then also who do I need to be and how do I need to bring the fire and spice into the relationship to get this person, to get the relationship thinking that's what would make me happy. And I was never myself. There's a very distinct part in my journey in my marriage with my husband where I began to drop my walls and I began to open back up to sex after shutting down to it after getting married and finally starting to be myself with my husband in the relationship, but also in sex. And it was a very, very different experience of myself than who I tried to be in the beginning of my relationship with my husband and trying to have that passionate desire and thinking that that's what love is and thinking that's what a relationship is supposed to be. And the experience of myself now and the experience that Adam and I have together in our relationship is so much deeper, so much more meaningful and sustainable. And that's really where we're going to go today. But when a woman says she wants passion in the marriage and she needs that desire reignited in the relationship, what we're really saying, in my experience as a woman and working with women, and this is one of the things my husband said this morning too, and I didn't say anything about this, it came just straight from his mouth. When as a woman, we want and need that passion, what we're really saying is that we want a bad boy. Because a bad boy adds that drama and that excitement and the desire and passion that we feel stems from those connections with a bad boy. And it's why as women, we want to read the romance novels, the Danielle Steele books. I'm sure there's someone newer than Danielle Steele, but that's what I remember. And it's because we crave a desire and an excitement that's unrealistic and it's unsustainable. And we feel entitled to it. And we also believe that that's what we want and believe that that's what's going to make a good relationship or a good marriage. But there's so much more than that and such a deeper experience that we can have. And part of the reason we want the passion is with that, again, comes the drama, comes the fighting, comes the arguments, and then the making up. And that stimulates the excitement that we are unable to give ourselves. In short, again, we've been misled by the experts of what relationships and sex should be, and especially what relationships should be in the bedroom. And it's very misguided to drag a good man through the idea that they need to create passion in the relationship for their wives because their wives are so empty and need that in the relationship. Here's the, hallmark of a good man. He's predictable, reliable, stable, and steady. That's a good man. He's not chaotic and creating excitement and drama in the relationship. Women typically marry good men because of their predictableness and steadiness and stableness that they decide that they want once they're ready to settle down, get married, have children, and they know that they can't have that with a bad boy. So they marry a good man for what we want and what, whether that be a family or kids. But then once we get what we want, we shut down, put our walls up and close off to a good man and see them as boring because of their predictableness and steadiness and stableness. Good men aren't seeking passion. Not to say that a good man can't enjoy the passion when it's there in the beginning and it's new, of course. But that's not what a good man is looking for in a relationship or marriage. We'll talk about what good men are seeking in just a little bit, but they're not looking to create that drama and excitement and passion in their marriage. They're looking for commitment. They're looking for longevity. They're looking for a steadiness and something much deeper and much more intimate than the temporary, fleeting feelings and experience of passion and desire. What I really want to focus on today is that there is something better. There is a deeper intimacy that gets created by the dance. I like to talk about the dance in marriage that we can get to when, as women, we learn to be happy in ourselves and build a relationship with ourselves and bring who we are into the marriage and relationship. And when a good man learns to undo the brainwashing that's happened from his wife through the emasculation, that he is the problem, that he is somehow bad and wrong, and he rebuilds his confidence and strength to stand up to his wife, and we can come together and be who we are and be in the roles that were created for us as women and men in the marriage, to have a dance and to have a grace. So when we have that dance, when we allow each other to be ourselves in the relationship and have that grace, and we play the roles that were created for us as men and women, and in my beliefs by God, in that dance, there is an intimacy that is expressed that is so much deeper, so much more meaningful and sustainable in the relationship and in the marriage, that creates the love, that creates the intimacy that is very natural, that just naturally exists by having that dance, that it doesn't have to be created. The problem with passion, again, it's not real and it's not sustainable. It has to be created, and we have to create the environment that allows the passion to be there. And the end result of passion is a lot of pressure in the relationship. I can remember thinking in my marriage, oh, something's wrong. We're not headed in the right direction. Then that newness and novelty is not there that we had in the beginning, especially in the bedroom. And then creating problems from that, thinking there was something wrong and it was supposed to be something else, versus focusing on creating that dance and having that much deeper, meaningful, sustainable intimacy. So when you try to create passion in the relationship, one, it's not natural and it has to be created. And then the end result of that is unrealistic expectations, hurt, pressure, neediness, resentment, and unsustainable. So the result of the dance that is better than passion is affection. The result of the dance in marriage, once you have the dance, the result that is better than passion is affection. Affection is the foundation of the expression of love and appreciation for your spouse. It's a way of saying thank you for being who you are and for what you do, and a way of showing that genuine appreciation, love, and care for your spouse. Affection is a daily, ongoing way to show that you care about your spouse, which means it's sustainable and it's very natural when you have the dance. And it is so much more fulfilling and so much more real than passion could ever be. We mistake that passion is how you show your love and care. But as we're learning today, again, it's not sustainable, and it's not coming from a real and genuine place. Affection is what is sustainable and loving and creates that intimacy and is an ongoing daily expression that naturally gets expressed in the marriage through having that dance. And the dance is the ultimate expression of the emotional affection that we want and can sustain in a relationship. What I would like to do is go through 10 ways that show affection in a relationship from one angle of how good men show affection. The other angle I want to look at is 10 ways as women we show affection to good men. And this is what naturally happens through the dance. You have to have the dance first to be able to have this naturally expressed in the relationship versus trying to express it in the relationship as a way to try to make each other happy. That's the caveat. That will not work. What these lists of 10 ways that women show affection, 10 ways good men show affection, is highlighting the differences between us and what naturally gets expressed in our roles and responsibilities as a wife or as a husband, and to show we're different. And what shows me affection and care and love for my husband is different than what shows him care and love through affection. Again, they get naturally expressed. It's really, 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 really important to know that as women, we think we want, because I'm going to go through the list of 10 ways that good men show affection. The women listening will think, I wish my husband did these things for me. But we can't accept it and we can't let it in when we are walled off and do not have a healthy relationship with ourselves and are looking for our husbands to be something for us, to make us feel a certain way. We can't let it in. And good men stop doing these things because of how we emasculate good men and make good men feel bad and wrong for who they are, that they can never do enough in the relationship. And what's most important about our inability to have affection in the relationship as women is that we destroy the environment for affection to naturally be there in the relationship, and we destroy any possibility of affection because we are terrified that affection will lead to sex. Women kill and destroy affection in a relationship. That natural expression of how we care and love each other and show that care and love in a daily, ongoing basis. As women, we destroy that environment. We destroy that possibility because we are terrified that it will lead to sex. So for the good men listening whose wives won't let you touch them, won't give a hug or a kiss or be playful, it is because we are terrified that affection will lead to sex. That was my experience. It's what I hear time and time again talking with and working with women. It's what I hear time and time again talking and working with good men. And that's why, is we're terrified it will lead to sex. So we won't give and express affection to a good man and how they need that in a relationship because of our fear and how shut down we are to sex. And we can't receive what our husband will do for us to show affection because we think they want something, and that something being sex. Well, you're only doing that because you want to get lucky. And that's how walled off we are and shut down to ourselves and shut down in the relationship. And then through that, push our husbands away, make them feel bad and wrong, that then they stop doing the things to show affection. It's why it's so important for us as women to see ourselves as the problem in a marriage to a good man. Again, like I always say, not to beat ourselves up, not to make ourselves wrong and bad, but to actually create the very things that we want in the relationship, to actually create a loving and caring relationship, because the nature of a good man is that he wants to show his love and care. It's who he naturally is when our walls are down and we're happy in ourselves and we can be open and open-hearted to our husbands because we're open-hearted to ourselves. A good man naturally shows his care and love and appreciation. We are the ones as women that kill it and destroy it and take away any possibility for that affection and deep expression of intimacy in the dance in the relationship. So I'm sharing these two lists of 10 to show what it can look like in a healthy, loving marriage. But please don't be confused as a woman or a good man that if you do, well, I should really say, don't be confused as a good man that if you do these things for your wife, that she will be happy, because she won't. Trying to do these things for your wife will not make her happy. It will actually backfire on you, and you will feel that it is never enough and that you are throwing your actions and feelings into an empty bucket. Good men actually need to, in an unhealthy relationship where your wife has her walls up, she's unhappy and she's emasculating you. These are actually the things you need to retire from doing from a place of trying to make her happy. You might still do them because it's just who you are as a good man and it makes you feel good to do these things, but you have to retire from doing them thinking it's somehow going to make your wife happy or that you might get lucky, because it will ultimately backfire. I'm sharing these two lists as a way to highlight and show what naturally gets expressed in a marriage when you have the dance. The first place I want to go is 10 ways that good men show affection. And I looked at these by slowing down and looking how my husband shows his affection in the relationship. We have the dance. And I can actually, as a woman, experience these now and see how my husband shows his care and love for me on an ongoing basis. Whereas before, when I was unhappy and walled off, I couldn't see these things. And then I pushed my husband away to where for a time he quit doing these things. But here are the ways that good men show affection. Again, some of these come just from my own marriage and seeing these and how my husband shows up. So the first one I have is that every Sunday, my husband makes me breakfast. And he makes both of us breakfast, but he does it for me because I enjoy it and I can feel his genuine care in doing it, and that he does it to show his appreciation. That's number one. Number two is a good man cares about what his wife is doing and wants her to do well. My husband expresses this through genuinely and caringly telling me that he's proud of me and he's proud of what I'm doing and he's excited for me. And that makes me as a woman feel cared for and loved. Number three, a good man will do things that we like to do as women and to spend time together. And he's a good sport. He'll do things that he wouldn't necessarily do on his own time, but he does them because he knows it's important to us. He wants to spend time with us, and that's how he shows his care and love. So a couple of examples of that, I like going to the pool. My husband, he likes going to the pool, but he does it because it's something I want to do, and it's a way for us to spend time together. Or my husband is very adventurous, and his idea of an awesome camping trip is going backpacking and like roughing it and being out in the wild. That's not my thing. I'm much more of a glamper. So my husband's a great sport, and when we go camping together, he's such a good sport to do the kind of camping that I like, and he enjoys it, and he's genuinely engaged. Another thing is that good men will do things that they know bring us joy and that we enjoy. So for example, my husband plants flowers for our patio every summer because he knows that I love it. It brings me joy, and I enjoy it all through the summer. And he likes to do that, but I know he does it for me to show that he cares and appreciates and loves me. Number five, good men show a genuine interest in what we're doing and will ask questions and be very curious. An example of that is my husband asks about my lives every single Saturday and what I'm talking about and what I'm doing. Number six, a good man will do the man things around the house. So a good example of this could be which I know everyone relates to, but still kind of embarrassing. When I'm taking a shower and the water doesn't drain very well because my hair has tangled up in the drain, my husband will gladly cleans the drain of my hair so that it drains well again. So a good man will do those man things around the house to show that he cares. Number seven, a good man likes to surprise his wife with things that he knows she will enjoy. So example I have of this, recently my husband and I went camping over the 4th of July holiday, and I had gotten there a day early and he came the next day, and I was at a reservoir kayaking, and he showed up. He knew I was there and he showed up to surprise me and waited for me to get off the water. So they'll surprise us with things that they know that we'll enjoy. Number 8, good men are willing to share something that he enjoys, like a candy bar or a good bite of a good meal, even though it takes away from something that he can have for himself. A good man will willingly share something he knows his wife will enjoy to show that love and care. Number 9, a good man allows and encourages his wife to have time to herself. Like I just said, I went up a day early for camping to have a little time to myself, and my husband was very encouraging of that and wants that for me as a way to show his care and appreciation. And number 10, a good man will play the role of a man to support his wife to lighten her load. And that can look, financially and contributing and providing financially, cleaning and helping his wife out with cleaning, helping his wife out with grocery shopping. These are all ways that show care and love to us as women. And these are all my experience in my marriage of how my husband shows me affection that allows me as a woman really to feel cherished in the relationship. I talk about the different things that are important from time to time to a man in a marriage versus what's important to a woman in a marriage. And top 3 for a man is likely going to be respect, affection, and sex in any order in those 3. For a woman, in our things that are most important to us in a relationship, somewhere in those top 3 is going to be feeling cherished. And so affection is how we feel cherished as a woman in a relationship, with the caveat that we can only feel that when we really cherish ourselves and make ourselves important to us and have a relationship with ourselves. If we don't have that, we cannot experience it from our husbands no matter what they do to show us that they cherish us. It goes over our heads, or it's not done right. It's not enough. It's too late. And we can't let it in. So we first have to have that in ourselves to experience it. And these are the things, women, that a good man freely gives in a relationship. But again, that we kill by how we treat them and push them away. And then how we think, in this case, what they're doing for us, we think they just want something, which isn't why they're doing it. Are they welcoming if they get lucky from it? Yeah, but they're doing it because they're caring, thoughtful, and loving, and they want to show us how they do adore and love us and cherish us. But we have to have that within ourselves first. Your husband doing these things for you, if you're not happy in yourself and you're walled off and the ice queen in the relationship, you will not be able to experience them, and you'll ultimately push your husband away, make him bad and wrong, and then he will stop doing these things. But you can see from the list of how a good man shows affection in a relationship is that it's very different than from how a good man wants affection shown from his wife as a woman. These are very emotional. That I feel the emotion of care and love from my husband and what he does and his actions and activities to show the affection. And that's what makes me feel cared and loved. And you'll be able to see the difference now when I go through 10 ways women can show men affection in a relationship and how different they are. And again, a woman doesn't allow this type of affection in a marriage because she's terrified it will lead to sex. So let's get into 10 ways women can show good men affection, that good men appreciate in a way that they feel cared for and loved in the relationship. Number 1, playfulness. Allowing a good man to be himself, to be goofy, to be playful, and interactive. And this is often in a physical way. As women, again, we shut this down because we're terrified of where it might lead. But that's a wonderful way to show a good man affection, is being interactive with him and being playful. Number 2, After a hard day, we can all tell when our husbands have had a hard day at work or they're carrying extra stress. Giving them a back massage or a foot or leg massage, what they enjoy, not what we enjoy, what they enjoy. I did this on Wednesday. My husband had a challenging day at work, and my husband loves a foot massage. I like foot baths and a foot massage too, but I'd recently gotten some new foot soak and foot cream, and I asked my husband just, hey, can I make you a foot bath and give you a foot massage? And like teared up because he felt so loved for and cared in that moment. And it let him know, hey, I can see you had a tough day without me actually verbalizing that, and just doing something kind that he would enjoy that shows him affection as a good man. Number 3, cuddling. Might be while watching a movie or a TV show on the couch, not sitting at the far end of the couch or in a different chair, but cuddling up with your husband or cuddling in bed makes him feel so appreciated and cared for and loved. Number 4 of how to show a good man affection, a warm embrace and hug. I can't tell you how many men I have heard from say, my wife won't even hug me anymore. She won't even hug me anymore. She hugs everybody else, but she winces away, and I can feel her rigidity in her body and trying to pull away from me if I try to give her a hug, or she won't even allow me near enough to her for that to happen. A nice warm embrace and hug shows affection. And also something to note, of course, these things I'm sharing about women and men can be done to show affection. Not saying a woman doesn't enjoy a nice warm embrace and hug too if she's open and her walls are down. But these are the things that a man really feels affection from. Number 5, and how to show a good man affection, is touching. And touching with a tenderness. Putting a hand on his leg while he's driving, but in a tender, caring, and sensual way. That is so important to a man. A touch in that way is how he feels cared and loved for on an ongoing basis. Number 6 of how to show a good man affection, flirting. Pinch his butt randomly, or randomly flash him, like just flirting like we would when we first got together. I was sharing with my mentor David before coming on today and going through these, that these are the ways I show my husband affection. And I was kind of giggling that my husband and I can both have a lewd sense of humor from time to time. And when I engage in that and it's just playful and interactive, then he feels cared for and loved. And it's flirting to him. But I would never allow that to happen when I was shut down to sex. And now it's so nice because I can just be free to be myself and free to engage with my husband in a way that I know he really appreciates and enjoys. And I'm not terrified and rigid of like, oh God, what's this going to lead to? Just no, it's very, very natural. Number 7 of how to show a good man affection. Allow your body to be accessible to him in a playful way. I was trying to think of a appropriate way to say this today and not in a crude way. Let your husband cop a feel every once in a while and not jerk away from him or make him feel bad of like, God, are you 15 years old? He's a man, and allowing him to do that again shows an appreciation and an affection. Number 8 of how to show affection to a good man, being in a good mood and showing him you're happy. Or even telling him when you are. I was like, I'm very happy. Or I'm very happy to see you. And that lets them know that we care and we love them. Number 9 of how to show a good man affection. A caring, genuine peck on the cheek or kiss on the lips. Not rigid lips. I had a man tell me once coming through my course that his wife kissed him like she was kissing a dog on the top of its head. And how cold it was. A caring, genuine kiss or peck lets a good man know he's cared for and loved. Number 10 of how to show affection to a good man. Let him see you naked. Let him see you naked and not be guarded about it. Those are the ways you can show affection to a good man. And again, we won't do those things as women because we've closed off to sex and we are terrified any of these things will lead to sex. You can see by the 2 different lists that I shared how different we are as women and men, and that the things that show men affection are much more physical, whereas the things that show women affection are much more emotional. And the reason some of you might be thinking, what about sex? I see and teach and in talking with good men, sex is very important to a good man. Like I said, it's number 1, 2, or 3 on what's most important to him in a marriage. And affection is on that list too. So I teach them as 2 separate values that are very important in a relationship to a good man. But of course, sex is important, but affection is that intimacy within the relationship that's done on an ongoing daily basis that again is naturally there when you have the dance in a marriage. So ladies, it really is on our shoulders to create and allow the environment for affection in a marriage to a good man. It is on our shoulders. And how we begin to express that is opening up to ourselves to learn to be happy in ourselves, which is feeling good about who we are and having a healthy relationship with ourselves. When we create that in ourselves or for ourselves, that's what allows us to drop our walls, and that we want to show up as a good wife and show affection to our husbands as an expression of who we are and feeling good about ourselves. I feel really good about myself when I can naturally express affection to my husband that's important to him as a good man. I feel good about myself because I know I'm playing my role and part as a woman and a wife in the relationship, which means I'm in integrity with myself and I'm expressing high character of who I am as a woman and a wife in my relationship, which makes me feel good about myself. And my husband gets the benefit and he deserves it as a good man in all the ways he shows up in the relationship and how willing he is to play his role and part in the marriage as a man. So that's why I teach women the happiness course as a way to build that relationship with yourself as the foundation to begin to have that dance in your marriage, which is very natural and effortless when you have a healthy relationship with yourself. And for good men listening who feel hurt that affection is not expressed in the marriage, that you want to understand you are not the problem, that it is your wife being walled up and unhappy in herself and not wanting sex that has killed affection in the relationship. But what a good man can do, because that degrades a good man's sense of confidence and strength in himself, what a good man can do is learn to rebuild his strength and confidence in the face of his wife's woman ways and manipulative tactics and emasculation in the marriage, so that he can take back the power he's unknowingly given away and become strong and confident in himself again for his own sake. And then that's what can also then, if you have an open-minded woman who is willing to change, when you take back your power and control, what can happen is she begins to have respect again and realizes that she's the one that needs to change and that she has a willing partner right there waiting for her. That's what we wanted to talk about today. What's better than passion in a marriage? Affection, because it's sustainable and creates a much, much deeper intimacy and much deeper meaning in the marriage than passion ever can. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. If you haven't, go check me out on YouTube, Rumble, and X. You can find the links in the description below to connect with me there. For those women listening who know you are the problem and want a path forward to take responsibility and change your own inner turmoil and unhappiness, I have a course for women called the Happiness Program, which is the solution to the unhealthy relationship you have with yourself and the issues and challenges you have in your life and your marriage. You can find the link in the description below to apply for a free consultation with me. And for the good men listening who want a solution to take back the power you've unknowingly given away to your wife, I have a course for you too called the Marriage Rescue Course for Good Men Only that teaches you how to rebuild your strength and confidence as a good man so that you can navigate the relationship with your wife in a healthy, constructive way. Again, you can find the link in the description below to apply for a free consultation with me. Thank you again so much for listening, and I look forward to talking with you soon.